बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबीय्यिल करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. The theme for the present talk is the guidance of the prophets of God, or the prophetic guidance in the Quran. If you read Quran, you will find that there are two different aspects of Islam. One is ad-deen and the second is minhaj. Deen, ad-deen means basic principles of divine religion, and minhaj means the method. As far as the deen is concerned, deen is an eternal part of the religion of God. There is no change, no alteration in ad-deen. And ad-deen was common to all the prophets. All the prophets were given the same ad-deen. It is mentioned in the Surah Ash-Shura, chapter Ash-Shura. But as far as the minhaj is concerned, Quran says that the minhaj were different. لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. So God sent prophets in every time. Their number was, according to Hadith, 1,24,000. So according to the Quranic description, all the prophets were revealed the same ad-deen, that is basic tenets of Islam, basic tenets of the religion of God. But minhaj was different. Minhaj means method. You know, minhaj pertains to the situation. Every prophet was sent to different countries, to different places, different times. So the situation was different. So all the prophet propagated, all the prophet preached the same ad-deen, same basic principles. But every prophet performed his duties according to his time, according to his contemporary situations. Then there is there are 25 prophets. After referring these prophets, Quran says, addressing to the Prophet Muhammad, that أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ. All these prophets were guided prophets. All these prophets were guided prophets. So you have to follow them. So you have to follow these prophets. فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ. So you have to follow their guidance. Now, what it means? It means that as every prophet was sent to different situation, every prophet set different examples, different methods. So method is always different because situation is always different. So this verse tells us that as far as the deen is concerned, you have to follow the same eternal principles. But as far as the method is concerned, you have to examine your situation. You have to see your situation. Then you have to see the methods set by different prophets. Then you have to find the compatibility between your situation and other prophets' method. So whichever method suits to your situation, take that method and apply that method upon your situation. So this verse, فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِي, this verse pertains not to the ad-deen but to minhaj. This verse that you have to follow the guidance of all these prophets. This is related not to ad-deen because ad-deen is same. This is related to minhaj because minhaj is different, method is different. So it is very important to understand that all the prophets are guided prophet. To every prophet we can find something to be followed in our situation. Previous prophets are not inferior prophets. They are not mansukh prophets. All the prophets are relevant because every prophet represents some method. And if that method applies to your situation, so you have to take that method or you have to apply that method in your situation. This is the meaning of فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِي. Now I would like to say a few words about the different prophets, not about all prophets, but some selected prophets, only to illustrate the point, only to illustrate this point. You know, the first man was Adam, and also he was the first prophet. So Adam was first man, and at the same time he was the first prophet. Then there are different examples in the life of Adam. Here I would like to refer one example. You know, after creation, after God created Adam and his wife Hawa, God settled them in paradise. Uskun anta wa zawjukal jannah. God said that you and your wife both are allowed to live in paradise. You are free to enjoy all those things. So, but God said there is only one condition. لا تقرب هذه الشجرة فتكون من الظالمين. In paradise there was a forbidden tree. So God said that don't approach this tree and don't eat the fruit of this forbidden tree. This was the only one condition. Then due to satanic deception, Adam and Eve both ate the fruit of that forbidden tree. After this, they were thrown from paradise to this planet Earth. Then God said that go to the planet Earth and Adam, God said to Adam and also the whole generation of Adam, that is all mankind. So God said that settle in this planet Earth, and again your test is that you have to follow God's do's and don'ts. You have to refrain yourself from all those things that is forbidden to you. And then after this test, you will be selected for paradise. So, so paradise is given people on selective basis rather than general basis. This event has a great lesson, great lesson. It means that paradise is not a birthright to everyone, to anyone. Paradise is not a birthright to anyone. Even the prophets are not exempted from this general principle. Adam was prophet, but even Adam was not exempted. So this event gives us a great lesson that paradise is not a birthright even for prophets. It's very important lesson. You have to do for paradise. You have to prove that you are a deserving candidate for paradise. You have to stand the test. Even the prophets are not exempted from this general principle. This was the great lesson set by God at the beginning of the life. And this lesson was conveyed to all mankind through prophets and in the last through Al-Quran. Then the other very important lesson is that the most important, most crucial condition is that you have to manage your desire. You have to manage your desire. Because it was Adam's desire through which he ate the forbidden tree. He failed to manage his desire. He failed to manage his temptation. Under his temptation, he ate the forbidden tree. Under his temptation, he ate the fruit of the forbidden tree. So this is the second most important aspect of the lesson given by Adam. If you want to find entry into paradise, so first of all, you have to manage your desires. You have to control your desires. Without controlling your desire, you are nothing. Without managing your desires, you cannot do anything good. All other goods are a result of desire control. Without controlling your desire, you cannot do anything good. So, desire control is the basis of all good deeds. Here is the starting point. If you want to make you a true believer, if you want to make you a deserving candidate for paradise, if you want to make you a divine person, then the starting point of this process is desire control. You have to manage your desires. You have to manage your temptations. Otherwise, there is no paradise. So, desire control is the way through which you can reach to the gate of paradise. It's very important. Only performing some rituals, only performing some worship, only performing some customs, only taking birth in a Muslim family, all these things are nothing. All these things are irrelevant. So the first of all, you have to control your desire, then you have to follow the divine life. So it is 2-point formula. It is 2-point formula. Desire control and then following the teachings of God. This was the lesson given by the first prophet, Adam. Then let us take the next prophet, Prophet Nuh. Prophet Nuh. According to the Quran, فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ إِلَّا 50 عَامًا. It means that Noah stayed among his people up to 950 years. فَلَبِثَ فِيهِمْ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ إِلَّا 50 عَامًا. So Noah stayed as a da'i, as a messenger among his people up to 950 years. And then what was his work? Quran says that every day and night he was busy in dawah work. Laylan wa nahara. Every day and night he was busy in dawah work. Laylan wa nahara. And also he addressed them in public as well as in private. ثم أعلنت لهم وأسررت لهم إسرارا. This was the life of the Prophet Nuh. What is the lesson from the Prophet Nuh? The lesson is that even you find long, long life, 1,000 years life, even then you have to engage yourself in dawah work. Dawah work is a lifelong duty of a believer. Dawah work is a lifelong duty of a believer. Then the people of Nuh were very arrogant people. Their response was very negative. Their response was not positive. It was negative response. So they created so many problems, so many troubles, so many atrocities. But Prophet Noah avoided all these things. He avoided all these things. So he worked for Dawah without frustration, without despair, without any negative attitude. Until God said that now your role is over. Until God stopped him and said, now your role is over. So the Prophet Nuh is a great prophet. His life gives us a great lesson that there is no stop in our work. Only death can stop. Until you have to continue your dawah work. You have to avoid all those atrocities. You have to avoid all those odds. You have to avoid all those problems and troubles. You have to continue your dawah work without break. There is no break in dawah work. It is lifetime duty. It is a lifetime mission. So without any break, you have to do the work. Even you have no right to say that now my role is over. No, you have no right. You have no right to say that now my role is over. It is upon God. It is upon God, not upon you. So this is a great, great lesson given by the Prophet Noah. Prophet Noah. Then let us take other prophets, for example, Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Ibrahim was born in Iraq. Then he traveled several countries. He was the first international Dai, although he was born in Iraq, but he traveled to Egypt, to Palestine, to Syria, and finally Arabia. So he settled his wife Hajra and his son Ismail in the desert of Mecca. At that time, Mecca was a desert. There was no city, no town, because there was no water. So he settled his family here in this desert, only to establish an international dawah work. It was so, and he built Kaaba, Baitullah, here in this desert. So this was the first international center of dawah. Prophet Ibrahim established international center of dawah, that is Kaaba or Baitullah. So although there were so many problems, you know, desert is a problem area of our earth. Where there is desert, there is problems. So desert is a problem area of our globe. And he selected this problem area because although there were problems, although there were material problems, but there were spiritual opportunities. There was nature. There was no city. There was no city, no comfort, no luxury. But there was nature. There was desert. There was mountain. There was sky. There was air. There was sun and moon and stars. So it was a natural environment. Although it was not a material environment like Egypt and Syria. Egypt and Syria were civilized cities. So there were all kinds of material comfort. And Mecca at that time was uncivilized area. So there was no material facilities, but there was nature. Nature means source of inspiration. Nature means source of divine inspiration. Nature means source of divine inspiration. In this area, there was open field. There were mountains. There was air. There were stars at the night. There was sun and moon. So all the nature was there. So Prophet Ibrahim selected this area to establish the first international dawah center. because it was the most suitable place for such center. It was most suitable place. Then he wanted to have a new generation, to produce a new generation. At this natural environment, he wanted to produce a new generation of those people who are sound thinker, who are positive thinker, who are natural thinker, who are deconditioned. In one aspect, this center was a center of deconditioning. You know, the process of conditioning is a phenomena of cities, not a phenomena of nature. In nature, there is no conditioning. Conditioning is a phenomena of cities, towns. It is not a phenomena of nature. In nature, there is no conditioning. Where there is nature, there is God. Where there is nature, there is divine inspiration. So he selected desert to produce a generation free of conditioning. This was his scheme. It is a question why Prophet Ibrahim selected this area that was desert to build the first international Dawah work, international Dawah center, because this was the most suitable place for this purpose. And it was the most important aspect of this center that in this center it was possible to produce a generation who is free of conditioning. And I think that it is the most important aspect of human life. One must be deconditioned. One must be free of conditioning. Conditioning is the most important obstacle towards Iman. So this history gives us a great lesson that first of all, you have to decondition yourself. You have to decondition your generations. You have to decondition your family. If you want to produce, if you want to do some dawah work, you have to begin from deconditioning. It's very, very important to know the art of deconditioning. Here is the beginning of life of a movement. Then let us take the example of other prophet. He was Prophet Yusuf. Prophet Yusuf. You find mention of Prophet Yusuf in biblical literature as well as in the Quran. So Prophet Yusuf was born in Canaan, that was between Syria and Palestine. Then he settled in Egypt. At that time, a Mushrik king was the ruler of Egypt. At that time, Egypt was under the rule of a Mushrik king. In history, you find his name as Hyksos king. He was a Mushrik. He was an idol worshipper. You can read this history in the chapter number 12, chapter Yusuf. So according to the details given in this chapter, at a point of time, Hyksos king offered an office that was a department of food. He offered and said to Prophet Yusuf that take the charge of food department in my government. So Prophet Yusuf accepted this offer, accepted his offer. Although he was a mushrik, although the law of that country was not Islamic law, the law of that country at the time was not based on the Sharia. No. It is very clear in the Quran. مَا كَانَ لِيَأْخُذَ أَخَاهُ فِي دِينِ الْمَلِكِ إِلَّا إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. So at that time, the law of Egypt was Deen Malik and not Deen Sharia. Even then, Prophet Yusuf accepted his offer. It's a great, great example. It means that if you find some opportunities in a country where the ruler is non-Muslim, where the ruler is a non-Muslim, the ruler is a mushrik, the ruler is a secular, you have to avail the opportunity without going to overthrow that king, without killing that king, without managing a coup against that king. At present, we are living in a world where every country there are secular system. Secularism is the general principle, universally accepted principle. So in every country, in almost every country, there are secular system. In every country, there are secular rulers, and they giving us so many opportunity. For example, religious freedom. They are giving us freedom to establish industries. They are giving us freedom to establish educational institutions. They are giving us freedom to establish Dawa center. So these secular rulers are giving us all kind of freedom, all kind of opportunities. So we have to accept these opportunities. We have to avail these opportunities. I think it is haram to try to kill these secular leaders. It is haram to try to overthrow these secular leaders. You have to accept these secular rulers, these secular governments, just like Prophet Yusuf accepted. So you have to accept this secular government and avail all those opportunities. This is the very, very important lesson given by the Prophet Yusuf. Prophet Yusuf was a prophet just like other prophets, and in Quran Quran gives us the story of Prophet Joseph with this title, Ahsanul Qasas, best story. According to the Quran, the story of Joseph is Ahsanul Qasas, the best story. It means that best example. If Prophet Joseph's story is the best story, then I can say that his example is the best example. So he accepted a mushrik ruler. So we have to accept present secular rulers, secular system, secular governments. Why? Because they are giving us opportunities. Prophet Joseph accepted mushrik rulers because he was ready to give him opportunities. So is the case of present secular governments. They are giving us opportunities in terms of dawa, in terms of industry, in terms of business, in terms of education, in terms of religion. So, following the example of Prophet Joseph, we have to accept this offer by heart, not as a hypocrisy, not as hypocrisy, not as a expediency, but as a principle. It's a matter of principle and not matter of expediency. When this example was set by Prophet Joseph, that is a principle. It is not expediency. It is not matter of interest. It is matter of principle. So, in our contemporary times, the situation is the same. So, we have to apply that formula again in our situation. In between our situation and the situation of Prophet Joseph, there are great similarity. So, we have to adopt that example. We have to reapply that example in our present situations. This is the true Islamic teachings, the true message given by the Quran. Then let us take the example of Prophet Moses. Prophet Moses. Prophet Moses was sent to Egypt. He was born in Egypt and also he performed his dawah work in Egypt. His life was very eventful life. The life of Prophet Moses is an eventful life. So there are so many examples. But here I would like to mention only one example. You know, at that time, there were two groups in Egypt. One Coptic people, another children of Israel. Coptic people were mushrik people. Their head was Pharaoh. Pharaoh was the head of the Coptic people. At the same time, there were Bani Israel, the children of Israel. So, Prophet Moses have to do among two different groups, Mushrik and Muslim. You know, these children of Israel, they were Muslims of that time. So, Prophet Moses have to perform his dawah work between two different groups, non-Muslim and Muslim, both. then what happened? Prophet Moses worked in both the groups. He addressed Pharaoh, the head of the Coptic people, and at the same time, he tried to bring about reform in Bani Israel, the children of Israel. It's a great example. It means that if you find ourselves in such a situation that there are non-Muslim group, at the same time there are Muslim group, so we cannot say that first of all we will do our work among Muslims, then after some time we will do work among non-Muslims. No, this is un-Islamic. This is against the example set by Prophet Moses. We have to do both the work at the same time. We have to convey the message of God to non-Muslim people. At the same time, we have to do our work among Muslims. We have to address Muslims according to their situation. We have to address non-Muslim people according to their situation. And we have to address Muslims according to their situation. So we have to open two fronts of dawah, just like Prophet Moses. We have to open two fronts of dawah, one for non-Muslims and one for Muslims. It is a double duty. We cannot, no excuse is acceptable in this regard. No excuse for whatsoever. We cannot confine ourselves among Muslims. No. It is a double duty. We have to do among Muslims, at the same time we have to do among non-Muslims. What is required among Muslims is Islahi work, work of reform, Islahi work. And what is required among non-Muslims, that is dawah work. So dawah and Islah both are required at the same time. Islah among Muslims and dawah among non-Muslims. This is the lesson given by the Prophet Moses. Let us take the example of Prophet Isa, Prophet Jesus. In Islam, he is referred with two names, Isa and Masih. Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Quran by two names, Isa and Masih. So now let us take the example of Jesus Christ. There is Isa or Masih. If you read Quran, you will find that there are some very special mentions in the Quran. Very, very special kind of mentions in the Quran. For example, in the chapter As-Saf, there is a reference and this reference is very, very important reference. So Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kunu ansar Allah kama qala عیسی ابن مریم للحواریین من انصاری الی اللہ قال الحواریون نحن انصار اللہ فآمنت طائفة من بنی اسرائیل وکفرت طائفہ فأیدنا الذین آمنوا علی عدوہم فأصبحوا ظاہرین. This is a verse from the Quran, chapter As-Saf. This Quranic verse addresses the Muslims or followers of the Prophet Muhammad. This verse says that, O Muslim, O believers, you have to follow the pattern of Jesus Christ. It's very important. The pattern set by Jesus Christ, we have to follow that pattern which was set by Jesus Christ. And what was that pattern? It's very important to know what was that pattern. You know, at that time, when Prophet Jesus came to Palestine, at that time the ruler was Roman. Romans were ruler of that area. So his disciples asked what to do. What to do? He said that give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. This was the teaching of Prophet Joseph. Give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. It means that don't confront with king, Roman king. Don't fight with Roman king, but avoid Roman kings. Avoid with political confrontation and avail the opportunities available in our work. At that time, there were opportunities in our work, in our field. So Prophet Joseph instructed his disciples that avoid political confrontation with Roman kings and avail the opportunities of dawah. This is the meaning of this sentence. Give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. And perform the duties of God, and avoid the confrontation with Roman kings. This was the wisdom, prophetic wisdom, given by the prophet Joseph. It is completely applicable to our situation in every country. In every country. In every country, there are some rulers, there are some governments. These governments are not Islamic governments. Even in Muslim countries, there is no Islamic rule. So, but at the same time, there are opportunities in terms of dawah, in terms of education. So you have to follow the Masihi pattern. And what is that pattern? Avoid confrontation and avail the opportunities in the field of dawah. This pattern was set by Prophet Joseph, and it is mentioned in the Quran in chapter As-Saf. So now the same situation prevails At that time, there were ruler kings, and now there are secular kings. At that time, there was Roman government, and now there are secular governments. So the situation is the same. So although there are secular governments, but in every country there is freedom. In every country there are opportunities in field of dawah. So the best formula for us is to adopt the pattern of Jesus Christ. We have to avoid political confrontation, and we have to avail all those opportunities in the field of dawah. Through print media, through electronic media, through education, all those opportunities are open. We can educate people. We can convey our message through multimedia. Even we are able to establish an international dawah empire. So why confrontation? So avoid political confrontation and avail the opportunities present in the field of dawah. This is the prophetic pattern in our times. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.